What's up everybody, this is Ven, and I welcome you to the MOC Spotlight, where we take apart what you build. For today's episode, we will be taking a look at the Emperor of Darkness, created and uploaded to Flickr by kishidog. So, before we get started, allow me to go over my method of reviewing, which involves a point system that is based on 3 fundamental attributes: the overall appearance of the MOC, the build of the MOC itself, and the concept and ideas behind the MOC's creation. Each quality will mount up to 5 points, leading up to a final score that will be determined at the end of the episode, and please remember that this is all based on my opinion. So let's get this started. Hey, look everybody! I found the long-lost component to Voltron. I don't know what component this would be exactly, but if I had to make a guess, I'd say maybe like it's God armor or something, because I don't know, without it, it looks pretty complete to me, but anyway. Geez, this thing looks impressive. It reminds me of something straight out of Zoids or something. Like it might have been heavily inspired by Zoids. You know, just all this like mechanical aesthetic and armor and all of that encompassing this big lion creature thing. This looks so freaking cool. First off, the color scheme, pretty cool. A little monochromatic, but I do like the addition of purple and gold. The purple especially looks really good here. Like this whole midsection here, how the purple is kind of like covered up by these silver parts, and like that just looks so good. This is a really clean looking job. Like over here from the midsection to the back, or actually hind legs. And then there's the inclusion of this natural looking tail just kind of spouting out of the rear end. It does get a little bit busy looking towards the front, but I feel like this is due to the lion-esque appearance, you know, with this mane kind of going over where the shoulders are. You know, this big pattern that just kind of surrounds the head. It really resembles a mane to me, and that's what really gave me the impression that this was some kind of cybernetic lion thing. It is a little much. I do think it could have been a little less busy, because, you know, it's kind of a struggle to see where these front paws are coming from. And personally, it was a little difficult for me to find the face. I mean, obviously the face is going to be the very front of the MOC, but it was a little confusing to see, like, oh, where are the eyes supposed to be? You know, like, where does the face start? Where is the face separating from the mane, you know? Does this thing even have eyes? I mean, it looks like it has a nose with this Onua mask in the front resembling nostrils. And then there's these eyes coming from the gorilla head just right beneath it. But I don't think these are supposed to be the actual creature's eyes. I mean, heck, maybe it doesn't need eyes. This whole MOC, as impressive as it is, maybe it's just this one little detail that the builder didn't feel obligated to include. I will say this though, I really appreciate the amount of detail that went into this. Just from the face, you know, you can see like it has these front teeth, these big saber-toothed cat-like teeth, but you can also see like it has some little teeth too, here on like the lower jaw, and then there's this kind of like fur aesthetic, or not really fur, but there's a bit of texture that you can see is kind of kept consistent with the face and the mane. How some things are a little bit spiky, and then the rest of the MOC is just like smooth and kind of cybernetic, like a really well-armored Hellcat or something. You know, there's a lot of consistency and just a sheer amount of creativity in this MOC, just from seeing everything that was put into it. Like here on the back, we got these little wheel details that make it look like it has like maybe jet engines or something, and then you follow along towards the tail, and okay, well, there's all this other it's just so good. It's so freaking good. Now, as far as the build goes, that's kind of a different story. I mean, obviously, this is a really creative build. Like, everything was put together in such a way that there's like this flow, or like this kind of a pattern in the MOC's design. Like, it looks as though the MOC's design was really well thought out just from the get-go. Like, the builder knew exactly how big they wanted to make the MOC and what kind of parts they wanted to use, what colors they wanted to use. And then later on, they decided to add all these crazy details to it. Because, you know, aside from the mane, everything about this MOC looks pretty well organized. Like, there's nothing about it I can really say is messy. Again, aside from the mane. The mane does look a little, but everything else, really good. Really solid. Everything looks structurally sound, everything looks like it fits well together, and the only thing I can really take issue with is somewhat of like a gray area, and that would be like how posable this MOC is or what sort of functions it has. Because while there are some ball joints that are clearly visible in some of these pictures, as you may have noticed already, in every single one of these pictures, this MOC is in the same exact pose. So I'm not really sure if this is just a really good looking statue, or if there's anything more to it. Like, can you pose it in other ways? Can you make this stand up properly like an actual lion or other big cat could? Or is it just perpetually crouching, like looking like it's gonna pounce on the next person it sees? I mean, don't get me wrong, that's cool and all, but I've seen other large MOCs with those sort of capabilities, so it's a bit of a shame to see that this large MOC in particular doesn't really have that, or at least it doesn't seem to have it. But you'd think, you know, if it does have it, then it should be showcased in some of these pictures. But so far, I've found nothing. It's just nothing but this pose. Though I can understand if the purpose of this MOC did not involve featuring anything of that sort, like no play features, no poseability. You know, it's just built to look cool and remain perfectly stable while doing it. That's fine. I've seen other MOCs of a similar concept and they don't really turn out too pretty. They have stability issues, or they just don't really look all that great. And you know, this MOC, however, does look great, does look like it's stable, so therefore that goal has been achieved. And plus, come on, this is such a creative usage of parts, man. I can't emphasize that enough. Like, it's so freaking complex. Like, man, I can't even comprehend how... Ah, man, it's crazy. It's freaking crazy. And speaking of goals, this MOC definitely has quite a bit going for it. Maybe not all too much, but you can definitely see that the builder had some really creative ideas going into this MOC. Like, it shows in a lot of the MOC's details, like this thing in the midsection. I can't get over how cool this looks. Or the high concentration of small parts that make up all these crazy complex looking designs, and like the face and the legs and everything, really. All to evoke what is supposedly some sort of Emperor of Darkness. Perhaps suggesting that this is some sort of creature that has descended, or actually ascended, out of the shadows to reign terror among, whatever. I think it's really interesting that the design of the MOC looks to be based off of a lion, or maybe another big... I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a frickin' lion, so I'm just gonna keep saying it's a lion. Because it doesn't look like a frickin' puma, it doesn't look like a cheetah, it doesn't look like a tiger. It looks, well, it kinda does look a little bit like a tiger, but it looks mostly like a lion. You know, the king of the jungle, even though lions don't really live in jungles. Really, isn't that the gorilla? I always hear like, oh, the lion's the king of the jungle. No, it's the gorilla. No, it's the tiger. I don't know. I mean, look, Lion King. Yeah, that alone supports the whole lion affiliation with royalty. And you know what? I see it. This looks like something that could probably make your nightmares have nightmares. It's definitely an interesting idea. I wish I had more to talk about, but the builder left no real description as far as I could find. So, yeah. Enough of my rambling. Let's go ahead and move on to the final scores. So, in terms of appearance, this MOC receives a 5 out of 5. This MOC just looks too cool for me to really dock any points off. Like, sure, the front part of the body is a little bit busy, but I can honestly just look past that and just appreciate how much effort was put into the detailing and the design of this MOC overall. And as far as the build goes, I give this MOC a 4.5 out of 5. It is a shame to see that there is a lack of functionality and really any other features besides just this crouched position, but I just can't deny that this MOC looks beautifully built. The builder got really creative with these parts, and as far as I can tell, it can stand up fine without really falling apart. I just wish I had some more pictures to judge this a bit more fairly. And then as far as the concept goes, I gotta give it a 4 out of 5. Because I don't really know what the whole concept is. Like, sure, it's Emperor of Darkness. The Emperor of Darkness is represented by this big black and silver and purple lion thing, but I mean, there's no description for it, there's nothing, and I wish there was. I think this MOC deserves a bit more of an explanation, a bit more of a detailed description, because it's so unique, it's so creative, and there's obviously a lot of thought put into the design, but nothing else is really communicated here. But either way, whatever the builder had in mind, it turned out great, so that's pretty much that. And with all that said, we are left with a final score of 13.5 out of 15. Great job, kishidog. I really hope to see more out of you, and mostly a bit more of a description for this MOC, because I need to know, like, what was going through your mind, what exactly did you have in mind for this MOC, because I really cannot tell. But it looks really cool. That's the only reason why I want to know so badly. I need to know all that, plus I need to know if this can do more than just crouch. That's a little lame if it does nothing but crouch, to be honest. So that wraps that up. If you guys haven't already, please post your own creations to the LEGO Creations category on our message boards at board.ttvpodcast.com, and you will earn yourself a high possibility of being featured in a future MOC Spotlight. I heavily advocate it. Please consider it. Otherwise, I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.